Yes or no? Fine. So create a folder so that everybody will follow along. Create a folder. You can call it lab 1. So I'm calling it lab 1 now. Okay. Now inside lab 1, I believe all of you have this, right? You have the IDE and also you have the what? The web container. I'm talking about Apache Tomcat now. So why that happens, let me keep explaining some certain things here. So we explain what we mean by localhost and port 8080, yes. And then we move to explaining the common problems we encounter while testing our web container. Fine. In this case, Apache Tomcat. Fine. Or we call it what? Apache Server. And then we look at what? Concepts of workspace in respect to what? Git. Fine. And finally, we do some simple web applications with one servlet. And also we have to do that with a class, Java class. In this case, Java class. Fine. Then after that is done, okay, we look at the steps. So I'm going to make this slide available in case if you want to kind of, some of you that want to go through the processes, okay. So for now, please listen. Before we get into creating a dynamic website, okay, we need to understand what happens when someone accesses the servlet technology. What happens? So a quick Googling will help us understand something here. So let's come here and then let's do one thing here. What is a servlet? That will be the first question we want to answer. Okay, what is a servlet? Now, if you ask Google in Java, Google will tell you what now? Servlets are Java programs that run on hashtag. So you don't worry, a servlet is a Java program that run on the web. So take example from this now. So there will be some pages that are scattered here and there. We don't know what is happening and we don't know what is happening, but we know it is running on the web. So let's go and understand what happens here for most of you that are joining for the first time. So let me start scribbling something now. Okay, so today is Sunday. So we are looking into what? Servlets, our first servlet program. Servlet technology. So what do we know about this? It is just an extension of your Java whatever, okay, class. So today is Sunday and it is 28th of November 2021. Fine. The time is 3 p.m. in India. All right. So what we know for sure is, in a simple term, we have concepts of websites and web pages. So I'm not going to waste your time on this. Don't worry, guys. Just wait for some time, okay? Versus websites. And in case if you are new to this or you've forgotten or you were not listening in the class, let's explain this. So a web page is just a single page, right? A single HTML page. For now, we'll get to JSP. A single HTML page is a web page, right? So a website is collection of HTML pages. Collection of what? HTML pages. Similar to what? A Excel, a single sheet, a sheet in Excel, Microsoft Excel is what I'm talking about, versus what? Workbook in Excel, okay? Workbook. In this spreadsheet, Excel is actually a spreadsheet, right? Excel. So you got the concept now. So workbook is collection of worksheets, right? Or collection of sheets. Fine. So since we've known this now, that means that we need to look into the next thing, which we call static versus dynamic websites. And we're not going to waste much time on this. Just stay with me for some time. Okay, so you understand in which angle we are going. So we come to what? Static versus dynamic. So simply put, static websites, the contents don't get refreshed. They are there whenever you, that is as it is, as it is. Contents are as it is, never updated, never updated. You can actually update it, never updated at what? At runtime, okay? Or dynamically, okay? So, or at the moment, you cannot update it. You have to update, then after that, push it, and then again, okay, you say we are migrating to a new site, everybody knows that, and oh, whatever. Many sites now don't use this, right? We know for sure. This is now outdated. Static is outdated. Now, let's look at dynamic. So you see, contents gets refreshed without you knowing it. Contents get refreshed without your knowing it, right? Without your knowledge. Okay. So many a times you see requests and responses happen simultaneously, okay? And it happens very fast. So no worries. That means that more than, I will say maybe more than 80%, actually close to 90% of the sites are dynamic now, of websites are dynamic. So you can think of, they give examples. Okay, your e-commerce websites, all of them, whatever, all are dynamic, no worries. So if that is the case, now let's look at something now. How do we create this dynamic website? So how do we create a dynamic website then? How do we create a dynamic website? Fine. Now, what we should understand is this. Many are times when you request for something, so before you create this, let's look at what happens in the static site. So the client is there. This is the client. He has to access something through a browser. He accesses request for some stuff. So we say a request object through the request object, no worries. Client request for a page. Now talks to the server. Let's make server big. Talks to the server. This is the server. And the server says, okay, I'm going to send you the response. Server response. And maybe what server responded contains something in form of text / maybe in HTML format. And it gets passed. And maybe what this person is looking for is hello world. And that was what he requests for hello world. Sorry, I wanted to use black. He requests for hello world. And hello world is contained in this. And then server responds. And after this, the process terminates. That's all. Very simple. Whereas in this is a what? Figure. What? Typical figure 1. Typical what? Static website. Now, dynamic website. So let's take a case study. For dynamism, for dynamic website, do you notice one thing that happened in static website? In static website, actually, we know what we are requesting for. Example, what we requested for was hello, and this hello was present in this guy. The hello was present in this as maybe hello.html. It was present. So what happens, since it is present and it contains something inside, it sends it back to the client and the process terminates. What if it contains something called hello, okay? I mean, this is hello.html, and this guy, when he requests, it is not present. So if it's not present, it returns what? An error. So word of caution. Caution. Requested page must be present. Requested page. In this case, you are requesting for a content via the page. Must be present. Okay? If it's not there, it cannot make it at runtime. No way. Else, it returns an error. Else, 404 error. Page not found exception. Page not found exception. Error. Fine. So it cannot decide and create this at runtime. No worries. So that is the beauty of our dynamic website. So for dynamic website, let's say we have this now. Okay. Now you see in the previous case there is no knowledge of what? Web container. So in the same thing now we're going to repeat similar thing actually. So this guy is there. He is requesting for a page. Okay. Now when he requests for a page, now listen. This page comes. And let's make our server now, since you're talking of dynamic website, let's make our server a little big. Our server is the big guy here. He's just sitting here. He's like, don't you know who I am? I am so famous in this college. So you have to talk to me first. Like that. The server is just claiming, okay. Now the server is sitting here. So the client is very small. The client is telling, please help me. No, please help me. The server is saying, okay, what do you want? Tell. Now client says, I want to add 2 numbers. So the client sends a request. What is the client requesting? I want to add my CGPA. So my CGPA, you should return something that has my name and my address, right? Sorry, my name and my roll number, or my roll number with my CGPA. So for now, let's make it simple. The client is requesting for sum of numbers. Now, this client does not know which servlet should serve us this, right? So now the question is, from HTML, I'm jumping to Servlet. Please remember, Servlet is the only technology that we have to build a dynamic website. So note that Servlet, Java technology for building what? Dynamic websites. Guys, if you have questions, I'm looking at the chat box also. Feel free to ask for building dynamic websites. Okay. So ASP is also there. This is on Java technology. ASP is on what? what .NET technology, active server pages, .NET, whatever framework. Then we have PHP also on that. Yes, you might say, so how about JSP? Obviously, JSP is used to present that to the user instead of using HTML. Can we add HTML and servlets together? Obviously. Can we create a servlet from a servlet itself? Yes. Can we create it from a class? Yes, because it's just an extension of your what? Your servlet class. Remember, an ordinary class, once you extend the HTTP servlet, it becomes a servlet, and we are going to demo that very soon. Okay, so this is what happens. It needs a request to a resource which has to add two numbers and return the sum of the numbers. Now this hits this container, so we're going to call this now the web container. So this is my web container. So this web container says, okay, fine. Okay, I need to tell you, inside here now, there are so many pages. Say I have index.html. Then I have, what I want you to talk to is add.java, since it's a servlet. So this add.java is actually my servlet. Okay, so for now, let's call it add.java, all right? And then inside here, maybe I have maybe like index.jsp, index.jsp. Fine. Now, how will I know which one this guy requests for? So I need to talk to somebody, which is called my deployment descriptor. So I need to talk to my deployment descriptor. It says, hey, I know this guy is requesting for something. Is it present in this? Gotilla. Present in this? Gotilla. Present in this? Gotilla. I know that, right? I know it is present in this, but how will a servlet decide that? It says, okay, fine. Let's talk to somebody. That guy is called my deployment descriptor. So I'm going to use web.xml. Now, inside web.xml, I have configured something with servlet tag and then URL mapping with servlet tag closing and servlet tag close, whatever, opening and closing. And inside that, I put some name and the class. It will contain name, servlet name, and then class. And then this side, we have the URL mapping. Okay, URL mapping. Okay, so something like this. In this URL mapping, I have specified that it's going to talk to add, right? First thing, fine. It says, okay, you're going to talk to add. It says, okay, fine. This guy now says, web container says, okay, it is an add, it is defined that this is the add.java is going to handle it. So add.java, what do you have inside? It says, I have a method that adds this and returns something. It's okay, fine. Since you have it, please talk to respond to this guy. It says, okay, fine. Send this response. What is he responding to? Respond with what? Added numbers. Added numbers. Okay. So once it responds now, it says, okay, fine. Process hashtag. Okay. Now, if you notice one thing here, this process was actually decided at runtime. The user was did not know about it, right? So this was abstracted, if you can use that word. The process was kind of abstracted, right? Process was hidden from the user. Yes, was hidden from the user. Okay, but we're going to run into problems here. Most times even though the servlet is there, even though we have configured it in between, maybe if you do not configure properly, we get an error. So for now, this is what happens, right? So before that, let's look at, I wanted to discuss on something, the life cycle of a servlet. So for that, let's take help from Google. Say servlet life cycle. You see, these guys are listening to me. I don't know if you're noticing something here, guys. Before I do some stuff, like in between, even if I visited it before, okay, but in between it will still be there as my previous, my recent history. Yes, because cookies are there, no worries. All right. Now, the life cycle of a servlet, I know you have seen this in the notes, right? So it starts with servlet class is loaded, servlet instance is created, init method, just pay attention because you're going to use most of this. Init method is invoked, service method is invoked, and destroy method is invoked. So what happens? At least you remember servlet class is loaded when we create this. It is called a servlet class. So it is kind of, you can say a Java class is loaded. Instantiation happens. Don't worry, we are not going to create a new instance by using the new keyword. No, we're going to use the inbuilt method, okay? And then init method is invoked. We don't need to invoke it. Then after that, you see the service method is invoked. Maybe we have to pass some parameters into that. And you see what happens here. Call the service method. See, all these steps, the main thing we are interested is in this ready state, right? So it keeps happening until the process terminates, and then it calls the destroy method. So basic thing, you see, please listen, we're going to look into this practically. You don't need to see, you have to handle the exception because it's telling you fine, there'll be an exception. And usually the service method, this is what happens, and the destroy, no worries. So leave this guy, let's start. I believe this has finished copying, so let's start. So the step is this. Okay, please look here. We have to create a project, select dynamic web project. Okay, let me try to highlight, guys, 1 minute. Okay, I'll try to highlight now. Okay, here. So first one, you create a project. In that, you select dynamic web project, no worries. You go and give the project a name, say Servlet project or something. Okay, leave the default settings, don't worry. Ensure you check this guy. Okay, so I think I should draw. Ensure you check this guy. Okay, this guy is very, very important. Okay, fine. And then okay, I said remember to explain this. No worries, I will explain this. Okay, and then we create this, and then add Tomcat, run a server, and then create a servlet. No worries, stop for now. Over to demo. Fine. Window D. Now let's get there. Okay, so you remember the first step, right? Like when we created what? A Git repository. You saw that? So if you open this now, only these two things has been added. Let me zoom it out so you can see you have Apache Tomcat, right? Which is your server, and then you have Eclipse, which is your IDE. And in the previous class, I think we dwelt on these IDEs. But in K, I think I'm not sure. Sorry, I think it was on Python. Sorry, guys. So you can ask now, what are Java IDEs? So Java IDEs. Okay, IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Guys, did you see here? So we even have BlueJ, we have IntelliJ, we have NetBeans, and we have this, we have Dr. Java, we have JDeveloper, we have JCreator, we have this, we have that. So let's look for Java IDE for developers. Developers. Now, please look here. Now you see in that order, Eclipse, IntelliJ, and NetBeans. Can you see this? So by default, now top 10 Java IDE for that. Yes, though NetBeans is there, but the thing I wanted you to look at is, especially for professionals, anybody can write anything here, right? So let's look at IntelliJ, which I explained to you before. Okay, so I want to show you something here. Let's try to download this guy. You see, now you see one thing here. IntelliJ, this is like super intelligent. Java whatever IDE. So now look, it says enjoy productive Java whatever. Now every aspect of IntelliJ has been designed to maximize developers' productivity. So this is a top-notch IDE used in the industry, but there's a catch here. When you click on download, see, you're going to get two versions. On my Windows only, I have Ultimate, which comes with a free trial for what? 30 days. Okay, and now look, I have Community Edition, which is free to use for life, but let's compare both. You see here, Java, Kotlin, Groovy, and Scala, right? It supports all. So Java, obviously Kotlin for your Android application development mostly. Sorry, Android and Kotlin, they are different. But now companies prefer Kotlin over Android. So you see Groovy, you see Scala, no worries. Now you see, even on that also, it supports Android. See, IntelliJ provides the same coding assistance and integrated toolset for developing Android, whatever. Again, both is supported. Maven and Create is supported. Now Git, whatever, everything is supported. Debugger, Docker. Now, I believe as a student, right? If you use IntelliJ, no worries. This is more than enough for you. Now, but I remember one of you, well, he was looking up Spring Framework yesterday, okay? So you see, Spring Framework is only supported in the what? Ultimate Edition, which you have to pay. HTTP client, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Node, Angular, JS, and everything. You have with what? SQL and Kubernetes. But there is always a way out. That in Eclipse has provided it free of cost for us. Hence, we are sticking to Eclipse. So since we got the concept now, we don't need to worry. You might say, how about in NetBeans, in case another students from other colleges happen to join? So the reason we decided not to use NetBeans is, which let me try not to exaggerate. Okay, which Java IDE is best for industry, is used in industry, okay, is best in industry, okay, fine. So you see Eclipse comes up, okay. Now, though we use NetBeans, but still is one of the most popular, right, IDEs on the market. You got the point? Fine. Even my Eclipse is also there. Oracle JDeveloper is also there. IntelliJ is also there. Now, this is the official for whatever, making it top, but still, it is educative.io. Obviously, people in the industry, they prefer this. So because of that, we're going to use this. Why? It gives us the flexibility to decide on what we want. So let me start now. So I'm going to start doing what now? What am I doing? I'm starting what? the configuration environment, right? So let's configure it for the first time. So this is what you're going to get when you run this for the first time. Okay, so as this loads, I'm taking questions. Any questions so far, guys? Am I fast? Are you able to follow? Bhumika, Panchami, Jyoti? All right. Where are the rest? Okay, it's fine. Guys, I'm taking screenshots. Don't expect attendance to be sent later. Okay, I'm taking screenshots, and that screenshots, whoever is here, that is, I mean, they are the ones that are going to get the attendance. All right, so this is fine. So why this loads? I was looking into the chat box. There is no questions. Let's see. So yeah, I'll keep explaining some certain things. Okay, so try to follow before we prototype it. So once we do this, now we have to create some page. Okay, so basically it's actually some static web page, and then we add some things inside it, and then we click select run and run on server. Okay, run as and run on server. Let me see if this guy is done. It's still loading. Okay, so why did I decide to do this? Because I want many of you, okay, thank you, Jyoti, I want many of you not to run into problems when you start replicating whatever I have done. Okay, so now run and run on server, fine. After that is done, you have to just print some simple page. Okay, so let me keep explaining why this guy loads. Okay, done. Okay, guys, done, guys, sorry. Okay, so this is done. Please listen. Let me end this show for now. All right, let it be there, no worries. So look here. So this is done. I hope you can see my folder, right? This guy. So it says workspace, the concept of workspace. So what is a workspace? Just think of a workspace as where your project resides. That's all. Wherever my project resides is called a workspace. Going back to your Git, whatever, GitHub, yes, your Git, wherever your project resides or the directory where it resides is called a repository. The same thing here. So if you click on, for you will not have recent workspaces. You will not have. So I'm see, by default, it's going to my recent workspace. Vikram Aditya, we are Mega Shri. So this is the problem. Okay, please listen, guys. Type your real name. Who is Panchami CS? Is that your real name? Jyoti, is that your real name? Now listen. I know Sachi. Sachi, type your real name. Ambika S, correct. Do one thing, guys. Type your name and your roll number by the side of it, because there are so many Bhumika there. So type your name and roll number. I will take screenshot and we continue. Start typing now. Type. Megashri S, you should type Megashri C. You appeared as Vikram Aditi. All right. So please type your name and your roll number. All right. And do that without distracting the class. Now look here. So this is what we have. So in your case, you're not going to get any of this. Okay. So you should get something to the default workspace. So what you're going to do is we need to change this. We need to change this now to, it is on the desktop and I called it lab 1. Fine. I select that folder. Now it is there now. That's why I don't want you to use this as a default, because once I use this now, yes, whenever I start, I'm going to have issues. Okay. Please listen. Type your name and roll number. Nikita BH, fine, that is true. Do as Jyoti has done. Jyoti MK, like that. No, Ambika, don't just type Ambika S. You should repeat. Type it. Okay, fine. All right. Bayravi MU. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, keep typing. All right. So this is what we'll have, and then we click on launch. Okay. Fine. We click on launch. Now it will start your IDE. It will start your IDE. And then please listen. First thing, don't be tempted to click on a web project. Don't do that. Okay. Just close this and understand, set up your environment first. So this is what you're going to get. All right. So why am I repeating this? In the last class, we were unable to do that, right? We are doing actually in the class, but again, we had issues with projector, right? So for now, this is what you're going to get, right? It's going to be completely clear, empty. So what I want you to do is, for now, let's add our server. I said this, right? That if you click on this, you're going to get the server. Okay, by the way, you might say, sir, you did not show us how to download Eclipse, right? It's very simple. Go to eclipse.org, download Eclipse, choose the version of Eclipse. Here we downloaded Eclipse, I think June or whatever, I don't know. And then you go and download Apache Tomcat, okay? And then we downloaded that, and that's it. So guys, the same thing, I believe most of you have downloaded it, so you now need to add this. So in case you did not see this, which is very rare, with this version of Eclipse we have. In case if you did not see that, say which version of Eclipse do you have? How do I know? So you go to welcome, so you can see that actually. Okay, so welcome note here, you will get it. So this is Eclipse whatever for IDE whatever, but leave this. I don't want to show this again now. Leave this. Now let's continue. In case, let me close this now. Watch guys, I've closed this server. The server tab is not there. So markers tab, properties tab will be there, data source and snippet tab will be there by default. So you go to Windows, go to web, show view. So in show view, you need to see what? Not markers, it's called server. So once I click that, it's enabled. Okay. So now it's enabled. After this now, what I'm going to do next is I now need to add a server, right? So you might actually try. Obviously, you cannot try because you have not added a server. So I click on this to add server. Now, please listen. It will take you to basic by default. Go up and go to Apache. Now, the most stable version, okay, of Apache is from 8 and stuff. But yes, we have Apache 9, Tomcat 9. So I click that. And like I said, why is it always called localhost? Can I change this? Yes. Let me say Victor. Okay, Victor. But that means that if I want to access this now, I have to type Victor all the time. So why was it called localhost? Localhost is a default name which everybody knows because it also has the IP address of 127.0.0.1. Okay, .1. So leave it as it is to avoid confusion. Confusion Batella, confusion Barate. Okay. Now this is it, and this is the server name. If you like, you can name it. Like in industry, they say production server. Okay, anything server, this server, that server. All right. So no worries. You click on next. Now we have to choose this. Pay attention. This option, we tried it and it failed us, right? Because it went and downloaded the micro version of the server. So here we don't want this. We need to do what now? We need to point it to the directory where Tomcat is installed. Downloaded, and which is this. Okay. So Apache Tomcat. And notice one thing, that metadata has appeared, telling us that this lab 1 now is the folder is now what? A project folder, an Eclipse project folder. That's why we call it a workspace. So I'm choosing Apache Tomcat 9.0.5, select this folder. That's it. Now look here, JRE. This is the default workbench JRE. I'm going to change it to the JDK that I have. So for you to run this, obviously, you must have downloaded and installed what? Java Development Kit. But we don't need JDK, we need Java Runtime Environment, which abstracts both your JVM and your JDK. So we need this now, and we just choose this. Listen, guys, I left default workbench, and then I choose the JRE. Next. Now you see, since there are no word projects, so this box will be empty. Okay, so close, next, done. All right. So you see here, it says server at localhost stopped. We can republish it. Now let me right click and click on start. Okay. Now once I click on start, let's see. Started, synchronized, no error. You remember we tried this in the class, right? Then and we got an error. I expected the error also to happen today. I don't know why. It's a magic now. It did not happen. All right, so it's there. So let's confirm whether it's installed, right? So we come here, we just type localhost. Localhost refers to the name of whatever we have on our PC. So localhost, and that means that it has a default port number. But before I show that, let's see it here. So if I double click on this, please listen, I double click on localhost. Now you see this side, right? So I see, okay, this is Tomcat and this is that. Then I go to ports. So if I double click on this now, see ports, okay? Yeah, it's taking time, open it. Fine. So you see the Apache Tomcat admin is 8005 and the HTTP request will be served through port 8080. So this is what I should type, right? If I just type localhost, I will see whether it will access it. So I'll just type localhost. Before colon 8080, I'll just type localhost, enter. Now it will try, it will not get it. It says, okay, I'm looking for localhost, but you should tell me the port number, right? So, and you see by default, it has come to HTTPS, guys. Fine. So I say colon, I'm looking for what? 80, I'm listening on 8080 port. Now I type that, and then you see, guys, see here, it's not there, okay? It's not there. It says localhost colon 8080, it refuses to connect. Fine. There is no problem with the server, as we've seen here. There is no problem with the server, so we don't need to change the port number. You can see it, right, guys? There's no problem with this. It says started and synchronized. No problem at all, but we cannot able to connect it. That's why we need to come back here and change use workspace metadata, which points us to metadata.plugins or something. Change it to use Tomcat installation. Okay? So guys, if you think you just give attendance and leave, I'm taking attendance at intervals. And I will not tell you which attendance that will count. So if you like, deceive yourself. So this is fine. So I'm coming back here. I say use Tomcat installation. Okay. So this is what I wanted. Now I'm going to do one thing now. I will just say, okay, I've done this. Okay. So I need to restart this. Yes or no? I'll restart this now. So it will prompt me to do that. Yes, save. Now restarted, started, taken. Fine. Now this is done. Let's go back now and reload this. So I'm going to refresh this. Okay, localhost colon 8080. Okay, that guy refuses to listen. I'll say localhost colon 8080. It should come. Yes. Okay, it says, please listen now. It says this one. Okay. Actually, look here. The requested URL is not available. The server did not get the current whatever. Fine. Tomcat is there because you're able to see the server name. However, we are not able to get this up and running. So I will go back here now. Please listen. I will close this completely. Okay, right click. I will stop it completely. Fine. Now I will go back and check. Fine, it is there. Okay, this was how it was, but this is what it is now. So with this, I will check all my port, whatever is there. Fine, I'm going to start it again. It should work now. So do and start this. So it says open elsewhere, do not, okay, fine, save, and then it should start. Okay, so started. Now, in case if this error persists, yes. So now it works. Okay, so the error is not there. What I wanted to say, in case if the error persists, you have to change the port number. But it should tell you actually that it is the port number is busy and it's listening on that. So this is what we've done, and we have, once you see this, if you are seeing this message, you have successfully installed Tomcat. So one thing I told you like was I forgot this. I tried setting this up and I forgot it. So after some time, I'm going to clear this. So if you try accessing it a couple of times, it will say unauthorized. Don't get confused. You don't need all these things for now. Okay. For you, if you click here, you should be able to see the server status. Install that and let me know tomorrow in the class. Okay. So I think the password is, I think, ADMIN. I don't know, password should be root, ROOT. Okay, no. I think it is admin. So admin. So don't worry. So for you, you will not be able to get all this. You should be able to log in directly. All right. So don't worry. And if you do it a couple of times, it throws an error. So don't worry about this at all. What we needed is this. So once this is up, we have configured this. Now let's go and create the first page. All right. So close this, close that guy, leave this guy, minimize this. So this is done. Okay. So now I can close this. So this is what we have, right? Yeah. So server is running. If you like, you can shut it down. If you like, you just leave it. But for now, let it keep running. Now, what is the first thing we have to do? We have come to here, right? So we need to now do what now? Create a project. So we start with step 1. Now this is the first step. Create a project. We need to select dynamic web project. Then step 2, give it a name and do some stuff. Then I will explain this. Fine. No worries. So let's start with this. Window D. Now we'll come here. 2 things we can do, guys. You can see this side. Okay, let me. No, I cannot. But yeah, anyway, it will be very clear. I can see it also from the mobile screen. So you see here, okay, if you open up, feel free to look into this, the Explorer tab, the Project Explorer. You see, Tomcat is the only thing that is configured. Open here, you see something, okay? Web.xml is there. Now, if you are curious enough, you can look at what is inside. For now, I will show you this later. And you see server, you see Catalina policy. Some things we don't know what it is, right? So like I remember the permission was given somewhere here, like username and some stuff. You can actually configure them from here. Okay, it is in there, this Catalina properties somewhere here it will be. Okay, so to change that that stuff. So don't worry for now. I think either in this either in this two. I think in the first one, this permission it will be in the first one. So leave it for now, and you see whenever you open a folder, a file under any of the directory. Now it's under server directory. You see X will come, right? A kind of X mark will come, right? A warning. It's actually not a warning. It's like, it looks like an error. So if you close all these things, you see that goes. It's actually telling me that this guy is open. See, it has gone. That red thing has gone. Okay, so it's not, don't start worrying now. Oh, maybe there is an error. This is kind of a warning. Okay, but this warning looks like it's an error. Next, let's create a project. So 2 things we can do, right? Click on this Explorer tab, see new, see project. First approach. Second approach is go to File, New, New what? Project. Instead of this new project, which was the name of that project? Is called Dynamic Web Project. I select that. Now I've selected Dynamic Web Project. Let's call it what? Lab 1. Okay, guys? So let me call it lab now. I'll use like this. Lab -01 to distinguish it from lab 1 folder on the desktop. I hope you get it, because see, this is present in lab 1 folder, so we call it lab 01. Now run target runtime obviously is my Tomcat. We've configured the dynamic version model. Leave it as it is, leave everything as default, click on next. Now remember, it is under source/main/java. That will be populated soon. Now click next. Now look here. Now you have to click this generate web.xml deployment descriptor. Okay, so I click on that and I click on finish. All right, so now you see, guys, by the side now you see another thing. Let me hide this my server. Now you see this, and there is something like a web icon there. You know, it is like a spherical stuff there, and they have web 1 here, lab 01 here. Now expand this. You see some things were added which I don't know. Web services was added, Java server was added. Inside web services, you see other things there. JRE was added. See, so many things. It has imported java.xml, java.sql. It has imported java.javadoc. Every library that we need, and most of them has been imported. We did not import this. That's the beauty of this dynamic website. Now let's look at what interests us now is source/main/java. Now you see here, under this, nothing is there for now. As we add things, you see it's going to populate. Now look at SRC. Please listen. This is source/main/java. Look at SRC here. You see main, right? Go to web app. You see meta.inf. For now, let's not think about the manifest file. Look at under web.inf, not under meta. Under web.inf, did you see web.xml? This web.xml, we are going to come to it. For now, double click. You will see some stuff here, okay, with name and welcome list, which welcome file, which is cascaded. See, please listen. Welcome file has so many things that are hidden, cascaded. So once I click here, look here, it's there. Okay, I will show you how we configure all these things. Okay, now I will close this for now. Now everything is red. I'm going to close it. Now once I close, it should turn back to default. Okay, it should come back to default. Now if it didn't come back, you just press F5 to refresh. Okay, refresh F5. Oh, sorry guys. So refresh this. Okay, now yes, why this guy is, so don't worry, like I told you. Okay, so when this happens, don't worry at all. Okay, now minimize all these things. Now let's go now and add what? A static website. So first time, let's build a static website, right? And just print some stuff on the screen. So we go to lab 1, we say new. What do you want to add now? HTML file, yes or no? So these are all the things that you can add. You can add a file, you can add a folder, you can add SQL file, you can add annotations, you can add enumerator, interfaces, packages, records, everything. Okay, JSP, servlets, listener, whatever. So let's add a HTML file. Now here, look here, the new file. So by default now, let's call it index, so that in the XML descriptor is going to map, first one you see, it will start from index.html. So let's name it as index, and I will go and show you the error that we'll encounter when we did not call this index. Okay, so I explained this in the class. Why is it always called index? We will see that practically. So some things are here. Now we go and see this finish. So this is what we'll have. I'll zoom this out a little bit. Okay, fine. You can see it. Now here I can call it what, maybe like simple static page, something I'll call static. That's the title, right? Static page. No worries. So inside static page, maybe I'll just say hello world is what I want to print. Hello world. So to make it a little big, right, I will just say, okay, wrap it around p tag. Sorry, h1 tag. So I'll say wrap it around h1 tag. Header tag, obviously. Come back here and close it. Fine. So this is done. Now what I will do, guys, I will run right click. See, two things you can do. Since this is the only project here, you can go and click on this tab. Up. See this. Click on this icon, this icon on the menu bar. Okay, these are toolbar actually. This is title bar, this is menu bar. On this toolbar, toolbar, TOL, you can see this. It says run index or HTML, yes? So, that is one approach. I will do that now. Save. Now run on this, that, okay. So now this is configured. Now you can see it is configured. If you don't want this, if you want to exclude this from running, you can click on this and click remove. But it says that one is required and cannot be removed from the server, obviously. Next. So restart the server. Fine. Now it states that, so you should start. Fine. Did you see hello world printed? Okay. Now, how did it know? Did you see it has called, look here, localhost / index.html. It called it by default. Let's do something here, guys. Remember, this is called lab1 / index.html. I'm going to copy this out. Okay. I'm going online again. I'll just look for whole localhost. I don't know why I like localhost :8080. Now, localhost is there. See, this localhost called index.html of the Apache Tomcat configuration. However, what I want to run is this guy, localhost :8080/lab blah blah. So now let me show you something here. Let me remove index.html. Once I press enter, it's going to still bring hello world because it's already configured by default. That, see here, guys, look at the address bar. In the address bar, I never specified call index.html. I hope you guys are able to follow. I never specified that. I said, you just give me this folder. It says, okay, inside this folder, there is a file called index, which by default, Tomcat is going to serve it to you as your welcome page. Now, how do we know that? How are we sure of what we are saying? Let's go back to this source. Okay, go back to web apps, go back to web.inf, go back to web.xml. Now, if I double click, this is not what I wanted. If I see this welcome file, please guys, listen, maximize this welcome file. Did you see index.html is there? But what I want to show you is I'm going to right click on this and say open with. I'm going to open it with a generic text editor. Now, this is what I've seen. Now, guys, look at what I was trying. So by default, it's going to take index.html. If it is not there, check index.html whether I made a mistake. Because HTML and HTML actually is not a mistake, okay? HTML and HTML is the same, okay? Now, if it's not there, look for .jsp. If it's not there, look for default.html. Sorry. I hope you guys are able to follow. If it's not there, look for default.html or look for default.jsp. Got it? So what happens, please listen, what happens when we go now, this is the static page, we've not done with dynamic page. What happens now when we go, instead of saving this as what? Excuse me, index.html, we now went and saved this as, let me go back to my web pages, okay, web pages. Here, I need my index.html, right? I can actually rename this, okay? Right click, I'm renaming this. I saved it as welcome. Any questions, guys? See, all are interested in giving attendance. So please listen, I've saved it as welcome.html. Please listen. Now, when I come here now, it says run, it's running on server already. So I'm going to restart this. I will go back here. I will close this guy. Now, please listen. I have done that, right? So let me save it completely. So yes, Tomcat local has encountered a problem and needs to stop. Okay, fine. Let me close it here. So this you'll be getting, no worries. So I will close this and then I will start it afresh. Okay. So I will go back here now. Please listen, what did I do? By default, web.xml says I'm going to look for index.html. Okay. So once I get that, I'm going to pass it to you. Now I said, no, what I want you to name it is welcome.html. You're going to see a conflict, a name error now. So I have renamed this as welcome.html. So what I will do, I can click here, I say run as, I say run on server. Now, next, finish, okay? Now, you see, please listen, because I specified bring welcome.html for me, I ran it from here. I hope you got the point. In case if you do not understand, let me go back here and click on this. It says run welcome.html, yes or no? Now I run it, run on this, finish. It will print that. Now, let's go online now and run this guy. We go back to our browser. Now, I'll paste this guy here. Instead of this, now look at what I'm going to do, okay? Same thing I'm going to repeat. I'll press enter. Now, you see the problem. It's telling me now the requested this is not available. The server did not find the current implementational target that is. We need to disclose that one exists. You got the point now? Yes, we have Python class, Amar. Yes, we have a 7. Both is there. Yes, Amar Maggie has been a very diligent student. Okay, so please listen. So you see, guys, did you notice this mistake? This is what many of you will going to make now when you start working on this project. So this is there. What I will do, please listen. I know that is there. So what I will do now, I need to configure my what? Web.xml. So look here. What I want in the first space is what now? Web. So this is a static website, but I'm making it behave like a dynamic website. So I'm going to say it is called what? Welcome dot what? HTML. Or look for welcome.html. Or look for welcome.html. Actually, I don't need all this. Yes or no? I don't need all these guys. Okay. Since I know, even I don't need welcome.html. Okay. I don't need it because I know it's a Apache HTML file. This is only what I need. Now I will save this guy. Okay. Now there are two ways. Just press Ctrl S or you click on this button. Okay, it says save all. Once this is done now, I'm going back to the home page. I'll just right click here. I'll say run as. I'll say run on server. Now next, finish. Okay, restart this. Fine. Okay, it should come. Done. So now please listen. Now listen, I'm going online now. I'm going on this. The same thing, I'm going to press enter. Now you see that it came. Hello world. Okay. So by default, now you've seen why everybody goes and names it as index.html without knowing why it is called index.html. We have forced it now to bear the name what? Welcome.html, and we got the same output. Fine. So this is it. Now let's go and add dynamism to this. But there is something here now. You see, every time I want this guy, I have to come here and run it, right? Every time I want this, I have to come here and run it. What if I link this guy? I don't want to run it as an internal browser. Now listen guys, whatever we get displayed here is an internal browser. How do you know? Let's search for something. Let's search for let's say Tesla. Is that a website? I don't know. .com. I think, is it a website? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, good. So tesla.com is a website. So you see here, guys. So you see, guys. So this actually is an internal browser. Can you see that I can run everything here? Tesla model 2020, whatever. Why not my famous glue? So I will type on Google. So even without typing the fully qualified name, please listen. Google, okay, google.com, okay, that Tesla only came, I have to type google.com. Okay, yes, so you see, right, so this is my internal browser. This is not what I wanted. Okay, so what I wanted is this. Instead of me, whenever I run this guy, I don't want it to run internally here. I don't want it to run internally. I want it to run on the browser. So there is this option called what? Browser preference. So I go to web browser. You see one is called internal web browser, right? I'm going to change it to default. I can tell which one, what do you mean by default browser? I want it to run on Chrome. Now, please listen. Subsequently, I don't need to copy paste and go there. Now I'm going to run this now back. Right click now, run on server. Is going to open Chrome now. So once I do this, did you see here? It has opened it for me. Okay, and it's called this guy. How do you know? Because this was the old one, right? The old tab, and this is the recent tab. Fine. So this is done. I believe you should be able to replicate this, and you should be able to show me tomorrow. Now, before I forget, remember I told you guys that you have to commit this to GitHub. Okay, and don't give me excuses now. If by tomorrow morning you did not show me this, I will not tell you what I will do next, guys. I will not tell you what I will do next. We have created this in the class, so I don't expect anybody to give me unnecessary excuses. This is my 50 days of Python. Don't worry. You have to look for the one which we created in the class, which we call MCA whatever lab some stuff. Inside here, commit something there. And I want to see the first assignment which you did in the class. It should have date and time and everything. And you should have documentation. Yes, sir, you do not teach us how to add this README file. It's very easy. You just go to that project and you click that add README file. You do that and come tomorrow. Now I should see this such that when I ask you to submit this tomorrow, you just take this link and submit, and I should be able to see it. Okay, so after I'm done with this also, I'll commit something to this, okay, and then you see. So static page is done. How do you know a static page? Nothing happened here, right? The content was there. No worries. Now let's go and create a dynamic web page. Okay, so we are now done with this. Any questions so far? I have explained. Let's look at the slides so far. I have explained the project. I have explained how we did this, and I have explained this descriptor. I have explained this and the welcome name. Yes, we have created a simple Word HTML file and saved it. We have run and then let's go and create a servlet. Fine. So note here, please note, a servlet lacks main method. It's a Java file, extension of your Java class file, but it lacks main method. All right. So if it lacks main method, that means we'll only have to extend some stuff to make it a servlet. That's it. And now we go and click on File New Servlet. Now give this a name, okay, and some stuff. Add description if needed. Yeah, just like annotations. Now select this inherited method. Guys, this class is not stopping at 3. It's not stopping at 4. If you like, you leave. And mark my words, guys. If you feel like you can just come and do what you want, fine. I know what to do. All right. So, believe it or not, guys, I'm going to complete the remaining lab online. Okay, no worries. Keep leaving the session, no worries. So, we're going to do this, fine, and we can actually implement this do-get method, okay? And then we can try to print some stuff. Listen, now we want to print hello world through a servlet now, okay? And then we configure the HTML, whatever. And then we can explain what we mean by package. You're going to see that now and display some stuff on the console. Fine? All right, let's start. So window D. Now we are done with that. Let's move to the next thing. So I'm going to close all this now. Fine. Now come here, close, 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 close. Now you know that everything will be running on the server, right? So server is running, everything is working, no problem. Next, we need to create now what? A servlet. So two things you can do. Let's create a servlet from here now. New. Now, please listen. I'm going to create now what? A servlet. So servlet, we will create a servlet for now, and then next time we're going to create what? Next we're going to create a class. Okay, so for now let me create a servlet. Now you see the funny part. Once I right click on this, see here, right click on this, please look here, right click, you will not see, okay, new, okay, servlet is there, servlet is there, fine. So but ensure, look here, two things. See the problem here. If you are not selecting this tab, folder, if you mistakenly select this, okay, and then right click and say new, you see inside server you cannot add a servlet. You are permitted only to add file, folders, and other stuff. That's why ensure that you are here, okay, on the folder which you want, and then you click on new, then you see new servlet will come. Now, what is a package? What is a Java package? Okay, what is a Java package? I'm waiting for somebody to type something in the chat box. They are just busy. So see here, it's what? Group of similar types of classes, interface and subcat packages that can be categorized into two forms, built-in package and user-defined package. No worries. So what do you think a package is? It's like a container or a bigger directory that contains all the classes, methods, and all whatever, okay, that you need to run an application successfully. That is what a package is. So why do we need packages? For you to group your projects, making sense, let it make sense. So I'm going to call this now MCA.lab1 is the name of this package. Okay. So it says here, the class name cannot be empty, obviously. What is this class name actually? So you can say, let's call it say hello. Please listen. Say hello, or I call it hello. This is the hello thing. Okay. Now click on next. Now you see, this is the URL mapping. The URL mapping says it is /hello. Okay, so I click on next. Now, all these things I can now take only do get method for now. Okay, but if for me to like, okay, maybe if I don't want to inherit anything, I can actually leave it as default. But for now, let me inherit. I don't want to do post now. I want only do get method. Fine. Next. Now this is done. So you see, by default, it has imported everything. And did you see the package name? Package MCA.lab semicolon. Now see here, D here. It has imported java.io exception, java.this and that. This is what some of you were confused at in this. If you do so many things by rotate, you are not copy pasted. Once you create it, imports them by default because it knows you are creating a servlet. Whereas if you create a class, all these things will not be imported. It will not be imported. Whenever you add extend HTTP request, servlet request, then only it will appear. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to minimize this now. So another thing you need to know, what is protected now. So for that, we need to look into something which we call what? They are access specifiers in Java. Access specifiers in Java. In Java. Fine. Okay. So you see, they are called access modifiers, okay, whatever, or specifiers. Okay, fine. Access modifiers and non-access whatever. Now, look here, there are 4 types of access modifiers. Private says that only you can access the members within the class. It cannot be accessed outside the class. Default says it is only within a package. Now you've seen a package now, we created a package, right? So whatever classes that you have, if you say default, now you're going to access it within that package. Protected says, listen, it is within the package and outside of that package through inheritance, through the child class. So protected and default are same, but the only difference is that in protected, you are actually going to access it. If you want to access any of the private members, any of the protected members, you have to access it through inherited class. Okay, whereas public is public only. It's like everybody can use it. You can access from the class, from the package, from within, also even outside the package also. Done. So that's why this is protected. Now this is called annotation. So this is what we need for the URL mapping /hello. Okay, now you see these annotations. Okay, now for this, now we don't need anything, and it says response.getWriter. So for now, I'm going to remove all this. Fine. Okay, now look here, it has actually created my request and my response objects. So point inside here, because I implemented what do get. So it says here, call the server via the service method. Did you see this? This do get, see here, it calls, look here. Feel free to read some of this documentation. Called by the server via the service method and allow the servlet to handle get request, overriding whatever this method, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you go also to response. Okay, so you see again, so called via this to handle get request. Okay, that is, this is do get. Okay, in do get it takes here two arguments, request and response. No worries. Now you got the concept. To when the client sends something, he's sending a request, then the server responds by sending a response. No worries. So if this is the case, let's just do one thing now. Okay, let's just do one thing. Let's just print some stuff. Okay, inside my hello method, what I'm going to, sorry, inside my do get method, what I want to do is I'll just type system dot out dot what, println. So what I'm going to type, I'll say hello world. Fine. So I'll say hello world. Done. Okay. So now immediately I do this, now you see an error is there because I have not closed this. I say semicolon. Okay. So this is gone. Fine. Once this is gone, now what I will do, I'm going to now do what now? I'm going to run this guy. Okay. I will run this. Okay, so I will say, okay, fine. Now run, you can actually run this. It says run hello.java. Okay, save. Okay, next. Okay, finish. Restart. Okay. Now, what did you notice, guys? It is not here. It has started in this new tab. It has called hello.java because obviously the extension name is out. It is a servlet. So it's called hello.java, but I did not see anything here. Is that a mistake, guys? So let's go back and understand what happened. You see, the output is here. We actually printed this to the console. So whatever we've done now is here. Okay? And you see this console only tab is open, it's running here. But this is not what we wanted. We want to, since we are looking at dynamic web page, right? So we want to run this on the what? On the server, right? So what do? We now have to change this now, okay? Let me comment this out now and use what we call what? The print writer. Fine, sorry, I'm using comment in Python. So what I will do now, I'll come down here, okay? So I need what now? Print writer. What is the object of whatever I need to take from the user? Response, right? So I'll say response first. Response. Oh, sorry, I typed something else. Response. Now you see here, guys, instead of us to be typing long thing, response, blah, 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 you can actually shorten it. The object, say res, request. Okay, and then response res, request req, response res. Okay, so these are the objects. So instead of me to type this long thing now, say response dot what? Get writer dot get writer. Now you see here. Now this writer returns an object that sends a character to the client. So you see this response we throw an exception. That's why by default do get is handling it. Okay. So it's going to throw an exception. So exception is already been handled, and it's going to return a string. You understand this when we start doing addition on numbers to data. Okay. So this get writer will be there. Now I have this. Fine. So if this works, let me just print some stuff, okay? Now, but this cannot work unless I import something else, right? So I'm going to pass it to what print writer object. So I'll say, okay, equal, okay, I'll say print writer, sorry, okay, print writer, okay, so I will say writer, it doesn't matter the name, okay, so writer, okay, writer, okay, equal this, fine. And now it's telling me you have to import something. Look here, cannot be resolved to a type. Click on this. Now import print writer, which is present in java.io package. We have not imported it, double click. Now it's imported java.io package. So that has gone. It says the value of this variable is never used. So we have to use it, obviously. Okay. So now we see this now, writer, W-R-I-T-E-R. Now we have used it. Now dot what? Now println, that's what we wanted. Println, okay, so println, we want to say what now? This is now hello world, right? Was the previous one. So we now say hello, maybe like from the Servlet class. So you can say here hello world, just to distinguish what is happening, right, from the Servlet class. Fine. Now you can actually print some static HTML pages also, or HTML tags inside here, right? So to do that, let's say I want it to be bold as I wanted before, right? So I say H1, fine, that's okay, fine, and then I have to close my tag because we are going to do this in the lab. Like your first lab, you have to print everything inside this writer object. Fine. Okay, this is fine. I'm going to close it here. I'll say /H1. Bas. All right. So put semicolon, and that's it. And on this note, I will stop because yes, people are not interested again. It's fine. Now, look here. So what I will do now, it is done, and you see this is getting restarted. So it's saved. So what I will do now, I will right click, run as, run on server, next, finish, restart. Okay, now you see that. So hello from the Servlet class. You got the point? Fine. Okay, so even the stuff is up now. So let's understand what we did now, because the next assignment, please listen. I'm going to show you what we do tomorrow, and I will continue this lab tomorrow, whether you like it or not. Okay, now listen. So this is hello from the Servlet class. You can see it now. We have printed that, and then nothing is printed on the console. You can see it, guys. Nothing is printed. If you want, actually, you can print both. Okay, so let me restart this again. Restart. Okay, finish, restart this. So let both of them run. Okay, guys, fine. So this is hello world from the Servlet class. Let's go inside here and you see hello world, right? So you can actually say hello world in the console, something like this. Hello world from the console. Okay, from the console, and then you have that, and then you have hello world from that one. Okay, from the Servlet. Fine, that is it. So yes, on this note, let's revise what we did before we wind up. Okay, so now this is done, and then I'm gonna kind of revise what we did. So let's go back to the beginning. So we started by looking at this, right? Setting up our default environment and things like that. I will clear this and then fine, erase all. Okay, so what did we do? We looked at how we set up our development environment. In this case was Eclipse. Okay, and then and what? Apache Tomcat, our server. Apache Tomcat, that was our server. And then after that, I explained what we mean by this. Now you got the point. Okay, to this import number, and explain the common problems which we encounter. That we did, and we troubleshooted that. So this is troubleshooting tips. Troubleshooting tips. So after this, now we explain the concept of workspace. You have seen it versus what? Repo versus repository. Fine. And we created a simple web application with one servlet. Yes. Actually, we created static and dynamic websites, both. Then after that, we saw some configurations which we did. We looked at HTML deployment descriptor. Oh, that reminds me. In this case, when you create a servlet, how did the HTML deployment descriptor look like? How will it look like? Let's see that now and we wind up. Okay. So let me end this. Let's go back there. So we did this, right? So I'm going to close all this now. Now, if you come back here, let's look at how our web the deployment descriptor looks like. So if you come down here, now you see, let me maximize this guy. You see, inside here now, you see build, see here, source./main/java. Did you see this package? Package is called MCA.lab. Now, you come down, this is called hello.java. This is actually my servlet. Fine. Let's go to source, src, main, web app. Then I'm interested in web-inf, and this is my web.xml, right? So I right click, I say open with generic text editor. Okay. Now in this case, did you see guys here, guys? This is called web.what? Welcome.html. So if we want something now, let's say we want to add another servlet, please listen, that will be able to do some stuff, we are going to get an error. Because inside here, by default, is looking for the page, okay, which is what web.html. So for us to configure this now, we don't need this. Once we start working with two servlets, we don't need this. We need something like this, which I'm going to show you tomorrow. So we need something like this. This is the default one, sorry. We need something like, we have a welcome class, class name and the URL mapping. Okay, so that we will see tomorrow. So I want to point this out, guys, that although we created a servlet, still whatever we have done in the previous one will still be there. Okay, it will still be there. We have to set this accordingly, otherwise it will do an error. Okay, so on this note, I want to thank you guys for listening, and if you've been attentive, thank you. And if you are here to cheat yourself, keep cheating. So I will wind up because we have Python class at 7. Don't forget that. Yes, and yes, keep studying. And funny enough, nobody is asking questions. So I will stop now. And yes, I have taken attendance, and that's it. Okay, bye, guys, till 7 p.m. Bye for now.